Hola mi gente, it's Kat and welcome back to Kat and Too Many Books. I just wanted to start off the month on a good foot and talk about what my possibilities for June are. Happy Pride everyone! Now, June is going to be a good month. I am done with work and I should have a lot more free time to read. I do tend to get a little bit more consistent with book stuff in the summer because I don't have a full-time job. I mean, I teach, so summer's off. Anyways, so I want to talk about what I'm looking at possibly reading in June. Now, granted, I will not be reading all of these. I think I have about 18 books on my possibilities list for June. I absolutely will not be reading that many books, but again, mood reader, I want to have stuff ready. So let me start off with a book that I'm currently reading. I had to shift it over from May. I just didn't get to go all the way through it. And that would be Ranma One Half by Rumiko Takahashi. This is a manga. Actually, it's from when I was quite young, back in the mid 90s. It's actually from earlier than that, but I read it originally in the I saw the anime originally in the mid 90s. And then I think I read the first volume of this back in the day, but this is actually volume 1 and 2. And so I'm very excited to finish reading it. I'm about halfway through. Yeah, I'm actually probably 2/3 of this much left. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. It's really fun. It is about a guy named Rama who is cursed because his dad is terrible, throws him into this lake of the cursed girl, and when he gets hit with cold water, he turns into a girl, and then he has to be being thrown in hot water for him to be able to turn back into a boy. Hence the Ranma One Half. Hilarious manga. I quite enjoy it. Really strong female characters in this. Akane is the main female character. Anyways, it's funny and I enjoy it, and I will be finishing it up. I'm going to talk about some of the books that I've had on some previous TBRs this year that I haven't read, but I'm going to sort of stick here and be like, if I feel like it, I'm going to read it this month. I might make these permanent ones on my TBRs for the next few months, as in like I may pick them up as I'm reading the more current TBR, because these are books that I want to make sure I actually read sometime soon. First one I have in the sort of I'm going to call it the roaming TBR books, TBR possibilities, is The Silence of Bones by June Her. This is about Sol, who is an indentured servant to the police of Yoseon, Korea. And she works directly with one specific detective, and at some point there is a case where he is one of the prime suspects. She's pretty sure he didn't do it, so she starts to investigate on her own to find the person who really did it. I get a feeling maybe he's being framed. So yeah, so my best friend recommended this 100 years ago, and she loved it and said I would probably like it. So this is going to be on my roaming TBR possibilities. The next one I have, and have been wanting to read this for the last 2 months, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This is Haymitch's story of how his original run in obviously his moment in the games, the Hunger Games, and what happened. I hear is probably this is the saddest of the Hunger Games, so that's saying something. So yeah, really want to read it. I really love Haymitch, and I'm looking forward to learning way more about him. Next on this roaming TBR possibilities, I have Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. I've had this on my TBR for a few months, and I'm so sad. I don't want to finish this because it's one of my favorite series, but I have to. So I really want to get it done at least this summer. So it is going to be on my roaming TBR. You may see it again in the next TBR possibilities if I don't read it this month. I'm just going to continue to put him in the roaming. So of course this is about Emily and Wendell and If you haven't read it, I don't want to really give anything away, but they have to go to Wendell's kingdom. Let's just put it that way. And I'm assuming chaos ensues. I love this so much. Epistolatory type of format of writing. Love Emily's voice. Love Wendell's voice. This is such a fun series. It's one of my favorites. I have on my list because I want to finish up a couple of challenges I have, and I'm going to retroactively finish the challenges. But next I have the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I've had this on my TBR for 100 years. It's been out for many, many, many years. I don't even want to look as to how long ago this came out. And it is the story of a mom. I forget her name. Patricia. So Patricia is a suburban mom in a southern town. Don't really remember which southern town it is. And she joins this book club that eventually becomes like a true crime book club, I think. And then it turns out this man moves in next door to her, and she believes very, very deeply that he's a vampire. So I think not a lot of people believe her, and it's just her. And I do think he's a vampire. Spoiler alert, I think he's a vampire. I think it's a horror book, so I'm gonna assume. But anyway, it's about her trying to like take him down, and I'm assuming the other ladies in the Southern Book Club help her to do it. I don't know, maybe not. Anyway, I know I had a friend who said she would like one of the creepiest scenes she's read in these type of books in this book. So looking forward to figuring out what that is. This is probably one I'll read this month because I loved the first part. It's a duology, so I'm going to be finishing, or I'm going to try to read Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. It is the sequel to Divine Rivals. I loved Divine Rivals so very much. That love story truly, truly hit hard. The theme of grief in it. These characters that were just so absolutely just heartbreaking. But lovely, and I know that the gods of the Divine Rivals, so like the gods that they are fighting the war for, I believe get a lot more in this book. We actually get to see the gods in this book, so I'm looking forward to that and seeing how we fix what happened because there was a bit of a cliffhanger in the first one, so yeah. Last for my roaming TBR possibilities is Booked for Murder by PJ Nelson. I love the cover of this. It's so cute. I found this in my local, I have a local bookstore named Paper Cut Books. I love that bookstore so much. It's an independent bookstore. It's amazing. And I saw it there and I loved the cover. I thought this looks so cute. So I picked it up, and it's like a cozy mystery basically. The main character inherits like a bookstore, I believe, and maybe Cafe Books or Cafe or something from I think an aunt, and they themselves have like sort of failed at the career they went out for. They were going to be an actor, and they failed at being an actor, so they're coming back to town and have decided to take over the bookstore. But things start to happen, and I think eventually a murder happens at the bookstore, so they have to go ahead and figure out what's going on because it's affecting their life. So yeah, that's about it. Like pretty much a standard cozy mystery. I just loved the look of it, and cozy mysteries are always good to have around for when you want to read, like something to sort of cleanse the palate from other things. Now, this is going to be a really long video, but yay. I'm going to try to shorten it up as much as I can. Let me talk about what other things I'm going to be reading, or what my possibilities for June are. Of course, June is Pride Month, and I really, please always read diversely, inclusively. I don't just read queer books in June, but I do try to focus on reading queer books in June. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like I read queer books all year round, but I try to focus on making sure I read as many of them as possible in June, and obviously make sure I'm reading from Black authors and POC authors and Latinx authors and women authors. So I try really hard to like make sure I'm reading a lot of different kinds of queer books. So I have a stack of different kinds that I'm going to try to like maybe do a thing in. What the hell does that mean? See which ones I'm in the mood for. So let's start with one that I have had on my TBR for a very long time. And that is All Out, edited by Sandra Mitchell. It's the No Longer Secret Stories of Queer Teens Throughout the Ages. This is actually, I think, young adult, but it's a collection of young adult fantasy, I think, stories, like short stories. And it has a lot of different authors in it, quite a few that you might know: Mackenzie Lee and Anna Marie McLemore, Alex Sanchez I've read from, Sean David Hutchinson. So there's a lot of different authors here, and they have a lot of short stories that are obviously queer stories. I think based in magical realism and like maybe fantasy based. Maybe a little horror, but I don't know. Anyway, this is a one I've had on my TBR for a long time, and if I got it read, this would be a really cool thing to get read. The next one I have is actually a classic horror book, and one that is a seminal, I think, a queer horror. Of course, that is going to be Sheridan Lee Fawn's Carmilla, which, you know, was the inspiration for Dracula. I had not read Carmilla before. I'm very excited to pick it up and read it. I hear it is very interesting. I know that there's some controversy maybe on some of the things in this book. It was written a very long time ago though, so critical thinking, critical reading is essential. And so I really want to read this. I have a specific reason. I've wanted to read it for a while. I mean, then this particular cover edition is gorgeous. I've wanted to read it for a while, but I really thought I'd be a good chance to pick it here for a specific reason. But yes, classic. I think it's short. Might be an easy read for me. So I think this is definitely going to probably make it to actually being read this month. The reason I wanted to read Carmilla is because I actually want to read a book that is inspired by Carmilla, and that is Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. Excuse me. This cover is genuinely just mwah. So this is the story of a woman who's in not a great marriage, and it's set in the 1800s. I believe it's set in the 1800s, and she and her husband happen to run into another woman on their way home one night who is in dire straits in the middle of the road, and she's very weak, and so they take her back home and they nurse her back to health, and her name is Carmilla, I believe. Is that right? Yes. Her name is Carmilla. And so the main character becomes very sort of attracted to and begins having a connection with Carmilla, who is very weak in the day but extremely strong at night. And the women of the village start acting kind of strangely. Some of the young women of the village start acting strangely. And then the main character becomes very involved in whatever is going on with the young ladies and Carmilla. So yeah, absolutely want to read this. Absolutely. I hear it's fantastic. The next book here, and this is one of my most anticipated of the year. This is one of my favorite queer authors, and that is The Corruption of Hollis Brown by Kay Ancrum. I believe that the story of this is Hollis is being possessed, but he and the demon that is possessing him fall in love, and so his friends are trying to save Hollis, but they are not wanting to be saved because they are in love, and it's so complicated. Kay Ancrum does this incredible job of writing complex, complicated characters and narratives. So this is one of the ones that I will be reading. This, it's a library book as well. I will be reading this month because I absolutely have to get into this book. The next one I actually had on ITBR before. It is a library read, so I have to try to get it through. And it's The Chosen and the Beautiful by Nhi Vo. So this one is a 1920s, like the golden 19 roaring 20s, and is about the main character. Oh God, what is her name again? Jordan. So Jordan is rich and beautiful. She's been adopted into a very influential rich family in, I think it's New York in the 1920s. And so she's, a flapper and all this, but she is also a witch. And so she's popular and rich and a witch, which rhymes. But it is about her having to try to rein in her powers and what to do with those powers, and how being who she is affects her life every single day. So yeah, very looking into this. I hear Nhi Vo is an exceptional writer. I've not read anything of theirs yet, so looking forward to doing that. The next one I have is Memorial by Bryan Washington. This is the story of Mike and Ben. They have been together for quite a long time, and I think Mike is a Black daycare teacher. Nope, Benson is a Black daycare teacher. Mike is a Japanese American chef at a Mexican restaurant. And so they've been living together for a really long time, and they're sort of in that place in their relationship where they're kind of in a rut. Like, it talks about how they still have, a good sex life, and, they eat dinner and stuff, but they're just not connecting anymore. And then apparently I think Mike's father dies, and so he heads back home to Japan for, I'm assuming, the funeral or whatever, while his mother comes to where they are and stays with Ben while Mike is back there. And I guess Mike goes through a whole bunch of things back in Japan while he's there. And then Ben also has a lot of experiences with Mike's mom, and it makes him understand what he really wants from life. And so they both go through these changes in the story, and I think the story is ultimately, are these changes going to make them stronger as a couple? Is it going to reinvigorate their relationship, or is it going to break them apart because they've become very different people and no longer fit together? That's the synopsis from what I got from what I read. So yeah, sounds good. I haven't really read a lot of literary fiction lately, so it might be good to sort of get into get into a little bit of one. All right, the next one I have, I'm kind of excited to try to read this month, and that is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. We know that this is the story of, the name is on the tin. The queen has a royal coven, so it's about witches in England. And I don't remember if they're modern witches. I feel like they are, and so, or at least modernish witches. Four best friends. They are a coven who protect the country and the crown, and there are whisperings of like a prophecy that one of them from within, they're going to have somebody who's going to tear apart their coven, and so they are trying to figure out which one of them it is, maybe, or trying to stop that from happening. So everything I hear about this book is great, so I am excited to finally actually get into it, and I love this cover so much. The next one I have is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is about two characters. Yadrel, I believe Yadrel is a transgender character, whose family has a really hard time accepting his gender. He summons like a ghost. I think that's Julian. And I think they have a whole romance thing, and there's a lot of like fantasy, maybe horror things that happen in this book. I don't really know much about Cemetery Boys. I know it's fun, and a lot of people have really enjoyed it, and I think it would be a fun read for June. All right, the next one I have is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. This is a memoir. Johnson writes about his experiences as a Black queer man, and it's very heartfelt from what I understand. Touching, heartfelt, visceral in a lot of ways from what I understand. The people that talked to me about it, and I'm very excited to follow Mr. Johnson on their journey. The next book I have is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. This is a story about a mixed race gay teen from London who has spent his life trying to fit in, and he finds himself at a place called the Black Flamingo. I do believe he is or becomes a part of the drag queen community, and yeah, it's just, I think, about him finding himself. And this is one that I've been sort of wanting to read for a while. I hope I get into it and read it. I really want to get through some of these wonderful books that I have on my TV, that I've had on my TBR for so long. Next, I have This Coven Won't Break by Isabel Sterling. This is the second in a duology. I read the first one many years ago. I've had this one hanging around. Hopefully I'll still enjoy it. It's young adult. I don't lean towards young adult much anymore, but because it's one that I've read before, I think that I might want to get into it and read it. It is about a group of girls from this town, from this specific town. Some of them are witches, some of them are witch hunters, and they are trying to stop other witch hunters from killing their covens, and that's the basic idea. Yeah, I don't want to give off too much more. If you haven't read it, I do enjoy the cover a lot of this one. So I have a couple of more. I want to try to give a go at trying to read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. We know this is about this wonderful character, Viv, right? Who is an assassin, but then decides to put that down because she just doesn't want to do it anymore, and decides to open their own like bakery, coffee shop in Thun, and it's just about that. It's like supposed to be so lovely and cozy, and just about Viv, just, you know, and the regulars in her bakery and her coffee shop, and her relationship with this cutie pie here. Yeah, it's cozy fun, cozy loveliness, cozy queerness. I'm just here for that. And last but not least, I have Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao. I have had this on my TBR. There's another one that I had on my TBR last month, and I just sort of rolled over. But I've been dying to read this for a while. I just haven't been in the mood. Like, I'll be in the mood and then I won't be in the mood, and I'm hoping I'm really in the mood because I don't want to keep it on my TBR forever because it just sounds wonderful. It is about a pawn shop where you pawn your regrets, I believe. Is that right? Is it regrets? Deepest regrets. So you pawn your life choices and your deepest regrets in this pawn shop, magical pawn shop. And the main character has just inherited it, I believe, taking it over from their father. And it's their first day. Their father's missing. A really important artifact has been stolen. The pawn shop has been broken into. And then this gentleman who's like a scientist sort of comes in, strolls in and says, "You have to come with me. We have to save this thing." And so it's like just them going on an adventure together. And it just sounds fun. And everybody that's read it has said they've really enjoyed it. And so I think I need to do that. And every single time I show this book, I have to uncover it because I have to show the actual, like, this is ridiculous, right? Every time, the inside and page. This is ridiculous. Look how beautiful this is. Gorgeous. So, yeah. Gonna want to see if I can make myself feel like reading this one. It's been a rough couple of months for me. I'm kind of in a slump. Anyway, try to give this one a go. And I think those are the only books I really want to, I really have sort of a feeling of trying to get into this month. I'm not gonna I may not read any of these books, honestly. I might look at a book and be like, oh, that's the one, and it's completely off of my possibilities. It's just the way it's been lately with me. But hopefully not. Hopefully I'll read some of these off of these. Let me know what you're going to be reading for the month of June. This is a very long video. I apologize for that. I hope I am able to make some more videos this month. And you guys just leave a comment, like, or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And I will hopefully see you guys real soon. Bye.